Get ready to uncover truths and reality of today's politics. Here's your host, Lori Mills.
Have you visited the MAGA Mall yet to get your Trump merchandise? Make sure to use promo code Kelly when placing your orders. If you're not aware, we are having a Trumptilla in Oxnard's Channel Islands Harbor on June 30th. The boat will be leaving the dock at 1 o'clock, and we will be the lead boat on the Scarlet Bell, which is an old paddle ship. So if you would like to come, please make sure to go to uncoverkelly.com, click on events, and buy your tickets. They are selling out.
Welcome to the MAGA Mall. We have the largest selection of the finest quality MAGA caps and Trump caps that are made. We have over 250 hats and 1,000 different products in 28 product categories. All the caps are made from premium cotton twill. Everything on them is embroidered. As a matter of fact, in the last election cycle, we donated over 45,000 caps to Trump-endorsed candidates and conservative causes all the way across America. And you can buy any of our products by going to our website. It's at themagamall.com, like on the sign over here, and use promo code CALI, and that's for Uncover California. That will get you a 10% discount off of all of our products and also help this worthy cause. And remember, it's always a MAGA day at the MAGA Mall.
Raise a glass to patriotism with Republican Red Wine, our new sponsor. The perfect choice for patriotic Americans who want to make a statement with every sip. Let your love of country shine through with each delicious pour of this bold, flavorful wine. Enjoy our one-of-a-kind limited edition labels that are sure to become a conversation piece. Join us in celebrating America and all that makes it great with Republican Red. Use promo code Kelly for up to 15% off. Welcome to a special edition of Uncover California. Today's episode really hits home for me. I'm never going to forget the day that my son came home. He was in high school and told me that he wanted to be a United States Marine. As a mom, I was like, that's the tip of the spear. Can't you consider maybe doing Air Force? And he's like, no, Mom, I want to be a Marine. And when he graduated the academy, it was one of the proudest days of my life. I was blown away at the transformation of my son. Well, today we've got a very sensitive topic with somebody that is wonderful, who lost her home, her son, August of 2021. Hakeem Nakui was killed at Abbey Gate due to Joe Biden's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. And we're going to talk about him and talk about a further loss that she never expected. Shana, welcome to Uncover California.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Tell me about Kareem. Tell me about who he was, what he was like as a boy, and what an honor it was for you to have a kid like him.
Oh, Kareem was amazing in every single way. As a kid, he constantly wanted to go. So we always went and did things. We went hiking all the time. He loved hiking. So me and his siblings would go hiking all the time. We would ride our bikes around the blocks. We would ride scooters around the blocks. We'd go walking. We'd go to the park. He was always wanting to do something. He loved going to the Arboretum. I don't know if you've heard of the Arboretum. It's in Arcadia, California. But
I've never been there.
Oh, it's beautiful there. And he loved going there since he was a little kid. So we'd go there a lot when he was a child. And then on weekends, when he joined the Marines, he'd come home on weekends. And there was one weekend where he was like, hey, let's go to the Arboretum. And I was like, wow, we haven't been there for a long time, a few years. And he was like, yeah, let's go. So me, him, and my oldest son, we went to the Arboretum and in Arcadia and just kind of reminisced about when they were little kids. And it was really nice. It was a good time. But
your older son was Dakota, correct?
Yes, my oldest son is Dakota. Yes.
And we'll talk about him as well. So when was it that Kareem came to you and told you he was going to become a United States Marine, and how did you feel?
Excuse me. Kareem was about 4 years old, when he decided he was going to be a Marine. You know, you think it's a phase because he's a little kid, so you think, oh, this is just a phase my child is going through. And ever since he's about 3 or 4 years old, everything, all his little army toys, they were Marines. They weren't soldiers, they were Marines. And it just kept going. And then when he hit about 16, he said he was getting closer to 18, which meant he could join the Marines. And at that point, Kareem was already in jiu-jitsu and boxing and kickboxing and MMA. So I thought that was the route he was going to take because he was so good at it. And also when he was probably about 11 or 12, we used to watch UFC. So he would say, I'm going to be a UFC fighter. So here he is doing all of this. And I'm thinking that's the route he's actually going to go. Because at 18, he could sign up to start doing cage fighting. And no, as soon as he was his senior year of high school, and he turned 18 in January, his senior year of high school. And then he came home one day and he said, I did it. And I was like, you did what? And he's like, I joined the Marines. I'm now a Marine. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, I'm proud of you. That's something he'd always said he was going to do, and he did it. So, and I was very proud. Like when he joined under the Trump administration. So I wasn't worried at all about him. I thought it was a great opportunity for him. I thought he was going to get to get to travel the world and just have a really nice adventure in the Marines, and I also thought for sure Trump was going to get a second term. So I had no concerns about Kareem being in the Marines at that point.
Yeah, my son went into boot camp 2 weeks after he graduated from high school, and Biden was in office, occupying the White House. And I've always been concerned about my son because of that, because look where we are now. Now with your son, he goes into the Marine Corps. Where was he stationed? What was his experience before that dreadful day?
He was stationed at Camp Pendleton, which was only 45 minutes from my home. So he got to come home after he graduated boot camp. He got to come home every weekend. So he would come home every weekend. So for Kareem, it's not like, how would I explain it? So normally Marines, when they're in the Marine Corps, they came from other states, so they don't get to go home on weekends. So literally they're right. Marines 7 days a week. To where Kareem, he got the opportunity to come home every Friday. I'd go drive out to Camp Pendleton. I'd pick him up and bring him home. And then every Sunday I would take him back. And then any holidays or whenever they got 3 or 4 day weekends, he was home. So Kareem got to be Kareem on the weekends. He wasn't just a Marine. He got to be himself, be with his family, hang with his siblings, his niece and his nephew. So Kareem got to be himself. So he loved that so much, and he loved his Marine brothers. So he would bring home, on some weekends, he'd bring home his Marine brothers. On holidays, he'd bring home his Marine brothers who couldn't go home for the holidays. That way they could be with family and get to be themselves. And it was just beautiful that Kareem's heart was that kind, that he wanted that for his Marine brothers. Because for Kareem, being with family was the most important thing. And it's something that made him feel good. So he wanted that for his Marine brothers too. So I thought that was wonderful of him.
Now I'm going to ask my tech, if you guys could you put up some photos of Kareem as a child, just so everybody can see who he was before?
That is Stephen and Kareem. That is my youngest son, and then Kareem. What's weird I saved those jerseys because weirdly, Kareem, lost his life on the 26th. And his baseball, football, and soccer jersey was number 26. And another weird thing is his brother Stephen, it was number 11. 11 Marines were killed on the 26th, Kareem being one of those Marines.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I was like, it's weird that that's their jersey.
That is weird. Okay, so how many times had Kareem gone overseas before being sent to Afghanistan?
This was Kareem's very first deployment.
Wow.
And he had deployed to Jordan. So while he was in Jordan, everybody was like, you ain't got to worry. He's in Jordan. He's safe. And then Kareem had called a couple days before he went to Kabul, and he had said he FaceTimed me, and he showed me all of his things were packed, and I said, "You're coming home?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to be coming home in a couple days." So I was excited because I hadn't seen him since April 4th, 2021. So I was super excited. He talked about how when he got home, first thing he wanted to do is have steak dinner. He was just wanting his steak dinner. And he wanted to watch the movie Spirit. That was his favorite show as a little kid, his favorite movie. And he'd make me watch it all the time when he was little. So I know it word for word. So we had said, okay, we'll have steak as a family and we'll watch Spirit. And then 2 days later, he FaceTimed to let us know he was going to Kabul.
Wow. And as a mom, I'm sure that terrified you. Now, you did send me some video of Kareem basically talking to a lot of Afghani kids. He seemed like the type of guy that was very into children and playing with them and taking good care of them.
Kareem was very close with his niece and nephew. Very close. Even while deployed, he would constantly send them little gifts and call and talk to them. And he would talk about when he got home, the things he was going to go do with them. So yeah, when he was over in Kabul, his thing was he was trying to comfort kids. And because from his niece and nephew, the experience he had with his niece and nephew, he knew that children, when their parents weren't around, needed comforting. So yeah,
And it was chaotic, as we all know. I mean, the way that Biden pulled out was a disgrace. So these are some videos of Kareem basically comforting children that are being basically evacuated from their homes with the pullout.
That video was taken on August 24th.
Want to take a video together, buddy? Say hi to the camera. Say hi.
This video was taken on August 25th. He actually sent that to us about 5 or 6 hours before he was killed.
Oh, that's Gretchen. Say hi.
So, wow. And you can see in the background how chaotic it was. So
actually,
he's over.
In that video, that was it being a little calm. That was it being calm. That did not show the chaos that was actually there.
Yeah.
That was actually calm.
Well, because what we saw was the plane leaving Afghanistan, and I think we have a clip of that as well. And was that before or after the explosion, the chaotic plane leaving?
I believe the plane leaving was before. Was the plane leaving, when the Afghans fell off, wasn't that before the explosion? Yeah, it was before.
Yeah, do you want to show that? Just so everybody remembers, people fell from this plane.
That's how desperate they were to get out of there and away from the Taliban. The Taliban that Joe Biden had used for doing security checkpoints during the withdrawal.
And what do you say about the people that say that this was Trump's plan? Because I think that's a bunch of nonsense as well.
I've actually had to argue with people about this. Sadly, I don't want to use the wrong words, but they're so dense that they refuse to see truth. They rather believe lies than know facts and truth. And like I'm trying to explain to them, my child was a part of this. How do you think I don't know the facts of this? How are you going to sit there and try to correct me? You're going by what Biden and his people are telling you. They've already proven they're all nothing but a bunch of liars. Corrupt liars at that. Sorry for saying that.
No, you can say what you have the freedom to say whatever you would like to say. You've earned that.
The facts and the truth are there. Trump, how are they going to blame Trump? Trump wasn't the one giving orders. The Biden administration are the ones giving the orders. So how Trump didn't say, hey, leave behind all that equipment. He didn't say that. Like, that's
$88 billion worth of equipment.
Yes.
$88 billion. And he pulled out the military before the people, didn't pull out any of the equipment, which now who knows who has it? Russia, China, who knows? After all this chaos, knowing what has happened, They kept saying, well, we couldn't get away from Trump's orders. Trump never was going to get out unless the Taliban had followed through with their promises. And I remember him telling Abdul, you know what, Abdul, I know where you live, and not any Marine was killed under Trump's watch over there.
Exactly.
Once he put that in place.
With Biden, you stop and you think about it, they see we have a very weak leader. He's not even a leader. I guess he's a follower. He's following someone. I don't know who. Probably Obama. But so we have this weak leader. They see we have this weak leader, and they start thinking, well, we can do what we want. Obviously, he's not going to do anything. I mean, my goodness, he's got the enemy, which is the Taliban, doing security checkpoints. Like, that Trump would have never done that. Trump wouldn't have done that. So they can't blame that on Trump either. Just what happened over there was 100% preventable.
Yes.
100%. But they purposely didn't prevent it from happening. And a lot of people are like, well, how do you figure? And I explained to them, the Taliban was already starting to bully the Marines that were on the ground there. They're already starting to, because it's already getting closer to, I think it was August 31st, we're supposed to be out of there. It's already getting closer to there. So the Taliban is starting to show that they're displeased that we're still there. And they know that we've got Biden as our president, so they know they can basically do whatever they want because ain't shit going to happen if they do. Biden would just be like, we're going to come after you, but he's not actually going to. And they know this. They know he's not good on his word. They see his track record. So they're already starting to try to bully our Marines that are there on the ground. And now you have, it was days in advance that they're being told that there's a suicide bomber. Now they know he's going to come through Abbey Gate. They know the gate he's going to come through. And this is what I find so weird. They know he's coming through Abbey Gate, so they shut the other two gates and ensure that Abbey Gate is left open. It is left open. The gate they know the bomber is going to come through. They leave open and still have the Taliban doing security checkpoint. The Taliban.
Why would they not have used Bagram for the evacuation? It would seem that would have been a lot more secure.
It would have been more secure. It would have been safer. It would have been faster, all that. So they have so many lies out there about why they didn't. So who knows what the truth is? Maybe it's because it would have been faster, quicker, easier. I don't know. And
now that base is in the hands of China?
Yeah, exactly. They also left behind all the computers for the Taliban to go through so they can see who all helped too. So that's how they were able to find the ones that got left behind that helped the Americans. The Taliban were able to find them through the computers we left behind.
And there's still a lot of people that are left behind to this day, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Being hunted by the Taliban.
Right. And so there you are, Mom. You're knowing your son's at this evacuation site. What were you doing during all of this time?
Kareem, he's such an amazing son. He knew I always worried about him and would have anxiety and stress. He knew this. I expressed it as soon as Biden was cheated and seated. I expressed how concerned about him I was. I said, I'm afraid he's going to get you hurt or killed. Kareem was like, don't worry about it. So when Kareem deployed, I called so many of my friends, a lot of them Marine veterans, and I said, I'm so scared that this president is going to get my son killed or hurt. And they would say, no, he's going to be fine. It's his first deployment. So while Kareem was deployed in Kabul, he didn't tell me anything bad. Like when he would talk to me, he would make it sound good. When he would text me, he'd make it sound good. He didn't want me worrying, but, and I didn't talk to anybody else. I didn't know anybody else who had kids deployed there. So I didn't know what was actually going on over there. I just thought, and I stopped watching the news. So
right.
I just assumed that they're over there, they're evacuating people, and my son's going to be home in a week or two. I was very excited for him to be coming home. I was looking so forward to him coming home. I had, like I said, the last time I hugged Kareem was April 4th, 2021. And so I was looking very forward to him coming home. So the morning of the bombing, I didn't know anything had happened yet. I had woke up in the morning, and when I woke up, I couldn't stop crying, and I felt very worried about Kareem. And I stopped myself from texting him because I would text him so much that when he'd finally reply back, he'd be like, Mom, I'm working, I'll reply back. You just keep sending all these texts that I can't reply to at the moment. And I'm like, okay, sorry. So I thought I'm going to hold off on texting him right now. So I tried to keep myself busy. And then I decided to go on Instagram, my original Instagram account, before they deleted it. And I seen that there had been a bombing at Abbey Gate. And I recognized the background in this picture from the background of the video of Kareem with the little girl. And I knew Abbey Gate was up that way. And I know that they switched them off. So I automatically became worried about Kareem. So
Now,
I sent
didn't they know who this suicide bomber was?
Yeah, the description. Yeah, they had the description. So all the Marines, not only that, they had taken a knee several times before the bomber ever made it through. Like 15 minutes before he came through, they had just got done taking a knee, which is hiding behind things because they knew that the bomber was coming. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he's going to go away. They knew at any minute there was going to be a suicide bomber. This administration, the military advisors, everybody there on the ground in Kabul, they all knew it. They did not shut the gate. They did nothing to prevent it from happening, and they kept our guys up there working, knowing that at any minute it's going to happen. So that leads back to, if you stop and think about it, if our guys were still going to be there by the 31st, now the Taliban would then, it would turn out, it would have most likely turned into a little bit of a blood fight because the Taliban wanted us out of there. So that would have been on the 31st because it was getting close. But this happened on the 26th. So Here's how I look at it. This administration thought, let a few get killed, we'll get out of here faster, and then we're going to sweep this under the rug, and we're going to act like this didn't happen. And that's what this administration has done. 13 get killed. Several Afghans are injured, wounded, killed. And then we have our 13 that were killed, plus we have several more U.S. service members that were injured. And it gets us out of there before, like they wanted, it gets us out of there. And then what did Biden turn around and do? Not talk about it. He's never said any of the names of our 13 fallen or the ones wounded. None of their names. He's acted like they don't exist. Now, I don't want to hear my son's name come out of that man's mouth. I do not want my son's name coming out of that lying, corrupt piece of shit's mouth. I never want to hear my son's name out of his mouth.
And we will insert the video of the explosion because I think it's important that everybody see it. Did Joe Biden ever reach out to you?
So we had to go to Dover. So Kareem was killed on the 26th, and we flew to Dover, I believe it was on the 28th. Now, mind you, at this time, I'm in shock. So It's hard for me to remember things. And we got to Dover on the 28th, and I believe it was on the 29th that I was face-to-face with Biden. It could have been the 28th. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was the 29th. And we all got to choose if we wanted to meet with him face-to-face. And I said, of course. I said, my exact words were, I hate this man with a passion, but I'll meet with him out of respect for my son, which is Kareem. Mm-hmm. So when he and Jill walked over to me, I do remember Jill stuck her hand out to shake my hand, and I looked at her hand, and then I looked up back at her, and then I looked at Biden. I said, I don't actually want to talk to you. And he didn't let me finish. He said, okay, then. And he went to turn around, and I said, but, really loud. I said, but out of respect for my son, I am going to talk to you. And he said, okay. So Jill walks off, and Biden stays there in front of me. And I started telling him how I was never going to get to hold my son again, and how I was never going to get to hear his laugh, see his smile, stuff like that. And he interrupts me, and he said, well, when my son Bo died, and as soon as he did, I interrupted him, and I said, what are you doing? This isn't about you. This isn't about your son. This is about my son. And then I went on to start talking about Kareem again, talking about how he's never going to get to have a family, a wife, stuff like that. He wasn't going to get to finish his goals and his dreams. And he interrupted me again and said, I just wanted to tell you, I was just trying to tell you that I know how you feel. And I told him, you don't know how I feel. Don't tell me you know how I feel, because you don't know how I feel. And that was enough to make me so mad that I said, you know what, I'm done with you. Like, I didn't want to talk to him anymore, because that made me realize he didn't care what happened to my son. Like, he didn't. But not only that, he had an opportunity. He was to my face, and he had the opportunity not only to thank me for my son's service, but tell me he was sorry for my loss. And he did neither one. Neither one. So that man, that was it for me. So I turned my back toward him to show him disrespect, because he was still standing facing me. And he gets it. He turns to walk away, and I let him get a few feet away. And then I turned around and I yelled at him, hey, Biden. And then when he turned around, I said, you know, my son's blood is on your hands, right? All 13, their blood is on your hands. And he turned his back toward me and waved his hand behind his back as if he was saying whatever, and he kept going. But it gets worse, because from there, we go over to Dover Air Force Base to see the dignified transfer, to watch our children be brought off an aircraft in metal boxes with flags covering them. And the sucky thing about that is, as a mom, you know, you're so excited your child is home, but at the same time you're dying inside, because you're not going to get to go hug them. You're not going to see them smiling. It was a horrible experience. So our kids' names were not said at this as they were being taken off the aircraft. They came out by numbers. Kareem was number 8, I believe. So not even there did our kids' names get said. They were numbers. And I looked up and I see that piece of crap checking his watch. And I thought, what the hell is he doing? Like, and he did it on the 5th time I seen him check it. I said something like, I got loud and I said, what the F is he doing? Is he checking for his nap time? Like, I was upset because he's trying to make it seem like this is taking up his precious time. Now, I know I read somewhere that, I don't remember her name. What was the crazy lady's name that used to speak for Biden before that Korean lady? Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, basically Peppermint Patty.
Raggedy Ann is what I call her. But
yeah.
I guess she wrote a book recently. This is something I heard. I don't know if it's true. I haven't read it. But that she wrote a book to make money off of our kids. And in it, she puts that Biden had only checked his watch 1 time. That sets me off, because she wasn't there to see it. I was there with my own eyes. I counted 5 times. 5 times, that's a lot. Not just once, but 5. And that's when I was looking up. Most of the time I wasn't looking up. I started looking up around the time of my son coming off, when I knew it was getting closer for my son. And so, that's how that went. And then after that, he never gave speeches about our kids, about my son, never said any of their names. But I was surprised to see he was still giving speeches, beautiful speeches about George Floyd, and making him sound like he was a hero and some wonderful guy, literally a violent career criminal drug addict. And this man is talking about him like he is a hero. And I realized this is about fitting an agenda. George Floyd was used as propaganda to fit their agenda. Our fallen
they
13,
needed to call. Yeah,
they
needed to call out their
propaganda, and they don't fit an agenda. Instead, him getting them killed shows already how incompetent he truly is, and he's not fit to run a country. He couldn't even do a withdrawal, so he definitely can't run our country. And then if you look at the shape our country is in now, this man is taking it down so fast. But I'm also, at the same time, I tell people, you got to remember, Biden was Obama's vice president. And everything that Biden is doing with our country, Obama wanted to do in the 8 years he was in, but didn't. It takes longer than 8 years to destroy a country as strong as America once was. So even in that 8 years, Obama wasn't able to create the destruction that he was trying to do. So now you have Biden in place, and Biden is actually doing it. And I was telling somebody the other day, I'm really concerned about the children in our country, because they're the ones being attacked. And the reason they're being attacked is because the children are the future of our country. So you got to get to the kids if you want to make sure that the future of our country is secure with, the children. So they're getting to them. And what I mean by that is not by dumbing them down, but making them mentally ill. Like
We
they're convincing
did
them there's more than two genders.
Yeah, well, we did a show on cultural Marxism and the movement that's happening in this country. And the bottom line, it's to divide the children from their parents.
Yes.
And our borders wide open, our economy's in shambles, and we know that Joe sold out to the Chinese Communist Party.
Yes.
You know, Joe right now, which to me is treasonous, is funding NGOs, gave our base in Panama to the UN, and are flying military-aged men into our country, which are now trying to break onto our military bases. But what I can say to you, Shana, my heart breaks for you and your family, what you guys have been through, for all of the Marines' families and those that were killed on that horrible day. What did this do to your family? And let's talk about Dakota.
It did a number on my family. Like I said, the night that I was told that Kareem was dead, I don't really remember much. I just remember screaming. And that is a pain I've never experienced before. That is trauma I've never experienced before. So I spent pretty much the next almost year trying to run from this pain, trying to do everything I could just to be numb, not like drugs or drinking. I didn't do any of that, but like running away, trying to stay away from my family, even my own kids. And I'm very close to my kids, extremely. I was a stay-at-home mom. I raised my kids. I was with them 24/7, did everything with them and for them. And being around my own kids hurt me even more because I could see my kids hurt. And that was a wound I couldn't take away. Like I looked at that as, I can't take this away. There's nothing I can say or do that's going to take this pain away from my kids. So I kind of just started doing my own thing, staying away from my home a lot, just trying to escape this pain. And I couldn't see that my son Dakota had Asperger's autism. So he took things a little bit differently. Like for him, he would really absorb things and hold it in. So losing his brother really, really hurt him. And
they were very close.
I knew my kids were hurt. Yeah. And I knew my kids were hurt, but I didn't think it to the point where one would take their own life. And my ex was never kind to my oldest son. And even though he'd been in my oldest son's life since he was a year and a half old, he was horrible to him. Like he would call him the R word, because he was different from the rest of the kids. He was very, very cruel to my son. Started kicking him out onto the streets when he was like 11 or 12 years old. Just very cruel things. But my son stayed strong and he kept pushing through. And so when he lost his brother, my ex would make sure to make my son Dakota feel like he wasn't part of the family. He couldn't come around. He wasn't allowed in the house, but he could sit out on a front porch on a wooden bench. He was homeless, so he was allowed to sleep on that bench, or he could sleep in my truck. So he's grieving his brother, and he's going through this, and he's still trying really hard to make sense of all of this. And he ended up taking his own life. It became too much. After he
So you lost
himself,
2 children.
Yeah, in less than a year. And after he did it, I found out from the people that work at the cemetery that Dakota had been sneaking in there at night and sleeping on on Kareem's resting place. And I knew he had been going there. I just thought he was going early in the morning because normally he'd go there with me because I would go there every day and spend every day there, and Dakota would be there with me. But apparently he was going back there at night too and sleeping. And then when I show up there in the morning, I would see Dakota's hoodie or sweatshirt laying on Kareem, and then I'd get it, and when I'd go get Coda, I'd be like, oh, you left this there. When were you there? And then he'd be like, no, I leave it there so Kareem's not there alone. So he was leaving, his hoodie or his sweatshirt there so Kareem wouldn't be there alone. But he started showing signs. They weren't signs I could see then because I was grieving Kareem so much that I couldn't see past that. I was still trying to process that hurt. And I was doing it alone. I don't talk to or go around the other Gold Star families. So this was something I was trying to do alone, completely alone. And I couldn't make sense of it. But now I can look back. I can see all the signs. from Dakota making sure to spend time with each one of the family members that he was close to, including his siblings, and talk to them about things that were important to him and about life, and telling them how much he loves them. He wasn't talking about his future anymore. He started talking about how if something were to happen to him, he wanted to be buried next to Kareem. And then I would say, well, that's my plot next to Kareem. And he'd say, what about the one after that? And I'd say, that one's empty. And he'd say, then bury me there. And then he would say, and then when you die, you'll be buried between me and Kareem. That didn't click. He's letting me know I'll be buried between him and Kareem. Instead of the other way around. When he dies, he'll be buried next to me and Kareem. You know what I mean? He was switching it around. Another time we were up visiting Kareem, and it was a couple days actually before Dakota took his life, and he told Kareem that you'd be so proud, or he said, you're going to be so proud of me. I did everything you wanted me to do in this last year. I've gotten clean. I have a job. I now have a place to live. I'm doing good. And then he ended it with, I'll see you soon. And that didn't click to me, what he was saying. And then I have text messages. It said on it 2 days. I have it posted actually on my Instagram because people were curious, so I shared it. But it says 2 days, and then my response is 2 days, question mark, question mark. I didn't know what that meant. And that was on August 8th. And then August 9th, the morning of August 9th, he took his life. August 9th, 2022. And Kareem
So 2
was
weeks
killed
before the
August
anniversary.
20. Yeah. And he did it. There's a park by our house that all my kids used to go to growing up. And even as adults, when Kareem would come home on weekend, Kareem, my son Dakota, and my son Steven, they would still go to that park and hang out, play on the swings, play on this jungle gym that they would always hang out on. And it's across from a permanent memorial of Kareem, which is up at Ingalls Park. And he hung himself on that jungle gym. And the thing that bothers me the most is that he got to that point. Sadly, I've been to that point. I got myself out of it and got therapy. But I know that feeling when you get to that point. So it really hurts me thinking that Dakota felt that.
You guys were going through so much, Shana. And love on your other kids and your grandkids, because I know you have some of those too. And I just can't imagine what you've been through.
You know what's weird is, so 3 months after Kareem was killed, my youngest daughter came over, and she was like, she's so casual too. I love her. Skylar. She comes over, she's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, okay, I thought she was joking. I thought she was kidding. So I was like, okay. And then later on, she says it again. Later on that day, she's like, I'm pregnant. And I'm thinking she's joking. And then she's like, when's daddy going to be home? Because at the time, I still lived in the same house as Kareem's dad. And she's like, when's daddy going to be home? Because I need to let him know I'm pregnant. And I was like, wait, you're actually pregnant? She's like, I've been telling you all day. And I was like, I thought you were joking. But now that you're going to tell your dad, I know she's serious, because she would never joke with her dad that way. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're pregnant. So I was really excited. And then weirdly, a couple weeks later, my oldest daughter, Shaylin, was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. So my daughter Shylar and my daughter Shaylin's sons are exactly 1 month and 2 days apart. So weirdly about that is my daughter Shylar has her son, and I'm like amazed. I'm like, wow, he looks just like you. And by saying that, he looks just like her. My daughter Shylar and Kareem look a lot alike. So her son resembles Kareem a lot. And his name is Ryland Kareem. And so, which is a beautiful name. Well, then my daughter, Shaylin, has her son on August 11th, 2 days after Dakota killed himself. And we were tripping out because I was like, oh my gosh, this one looks like, he looks like Dakota. So we were tripping out at how much he looks like Dakota. So it's just weird that I lost two sons and I gained two more grandsons. So, and I spend so much time with my grandkids. I probably spend more time with my grandkids than most grandparents. My grandkids are my life. Like, you don't think you can love anything as much as you love your own kids. And loving your kids, that motherly love makes you a little crazy. And
Yeah.
now I have my grandkids and I love them so much, it's made me a little crazy. Like
Oh,
they're
that's
perfect. So, and
yeah.
both of them, the youngest ones, are named after Kareem, because my other grandson, he is Tayson Maylee, because Kareem was Kareem Maylee Grant Nakui. So
Wow.
yeah.
So out of the situation, what do you want people to remember about Kareem and Dakota?
That they love life. Um, they loved life and they lived it to the fullest. You know, also too, pay close attention to like your family members. If somebody looks like they're okay and they're telling you they're okay, look for certain signs. Like I said, I didn't look just like with me. I almost took my life a few months ago. Nobody knew I was going to do it. Nobody had a clue I was going to do it. Um, Probably after, if I would have succeeded, then they would have looked and said, "Oh my gosh, the signs were there. Why didn't we see them?" One of the main things I did is made sure all my kids knew how much I loved them. I sent them texts and telling them what a blessing it is being their mom and how much I love them and how blessed I am to have the grandchildren I have. And I let them know how much I love my grandkids. Never let on that I was going to do anything. I just wanted them to know how much I love them and love being their mom. Um, Let my brothers know how much I love them. And then, I felt like I was ready. I also had made a comment to my daughter that if something ever happened to me, she's got to take my parrots because parrots live a very long time. And she's got to take my parrots and my dog, King. I also have Kareem's dog, Kenya. Um, so I told my daughter she has to take that dog too. And I said, and my husband can keep my dog Recon, you know. So there
Well,
were things
I
I had said and nobody knew what was coming. So
well,
it's
I'm
easy to
happy.
overlook.
I'm happy you never did anything because this world's a better place with you in it, and we need people like you. So you stay strong. There's a
Oh, thank
lot
you.
that people can learn from you, and you're going to carry Kareem and Dakota's memory on. So we need you in this world. So if you ever do feel like that, do get help. If you
I
could
did. I
say
ended up getting
anything,
help.
if you could say anything now to Joe Biden, what would you say?
Honestly, if I said I mean, I'm going to say something, but if I said exactly what I was thinking, I'm pretty sure the FBI would show up at my house. Somebody show up at my house to arrest me. So I won't say exactly what I'm thinking, but I do want Biden to know that I won't forget that he's the reason why my son is dead. And if they decide to cheat a second election, this time I won't just sit back and be like, well, let's just go with the flow and see what's going to happen. I won't just sit back and allow it. Our country can't take 4 more years of this. It can't. He's
Agreed.
destroying it. So,
Agreed.
yeah,
Anything
I
you
hate
want to
him.
say to President Trump?
I do. I think Trump's an amazing person for our country. I want Trump to get back in there. I mean, we need somebody in there who loves our country and is for we the people, and that's the man. So Trump knows that I think he's amazing. I talked to him on the phone one time and I told him how great I think he is. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
need him. Our country needs him.
Shana, we're going to finish this episode with a slideshow honoring the fallen of Abigail. We're going to include Dakota in this as well because, as far as I'm concerned, he's also another victim of this horrible withdrawal from Afghanistan that should have never happened the way it did. My heart breaks for you, but I also see that God's giving you a future and a hope with these grandbabies. Let people know where they can find you if they want to support you.
Oh, they can follow me. I have a new Instagram account. It's SoCal Angel 13. So they can follow me on there. I don't know
Okay.
my X handle, the Twitter handle. I don't know what my name is on there, so I can't tell that one. But they can follow me on Instagram. I mean, I'm censored, shadow banned, and restricted on there. So to actually see my post, they would have to go to my profile to look for something new. But
Yeah. Well, come back
that's
to
my,
Twitter
you know.
because I'll tell you what, I'm barely on Instagram and Facebook for that very reason. The fact that they are censoring a Gold Star mom is disgusting.
Well, you
It's
got to stop them.
absolutely
They
disgusting.
deleted my original account. My original account had so much stuff on there about Kareem, um, pictures, everything from the beginning of what happened, and they deleted that account. And they threaten the one I have now all the
Unbelievable.
time.
Come back to Twitter. Elon's letting us be free.
Okay, I will.
So, Shana, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing your heart and your memories and what happened. Truly touched my heart. I don't think I've cried this much in an interview in a long time.
I made
But
sure
we
not to
love.
cry.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried.
Well, it's kind of hard not to, but I appreciate you so much coming on. I hope you stay in touch, and we'll have you back on. I want to see your life blossom into the beautiful thing that Kareem, Mount Dakota would want it to be.
Yeah, they would. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks for coming on.